Good morning. Welcome to another session on environmental impact assessment.
We shall continue with Unit 4, Environmental Management Plan. Course outcome, explain the Environmental Management Plan. Learning outcome, ISO 14001 2015. Specific outcomes, explain the implementation of the ISO 14001 2015. So in the last session, we already seen some features of ISO 14001, right? We will be looking more into the implementation part in this session. So contents overview of ISO 14001 structure, ISO 14001 registration, implementation of the ISO, handling and audit session. So ISO is the abbreviation of International Organization for Standardization. It's a non-governmental organization, NGO, established in 1947, based in Geneva, Switzerland. It has a membership of 160 national standards institutes from countries in all regions of the world. So developed more than 18,000 standards for all dimensions of sustainable development, which includes economic, environmental, and societal. Some of the examples are ISO 9001, which is dealing with the quality management system, ISO 50001 energy management system, ISO 27001 information security management system. American National Standard Institute in US is a US representative to ISO. So what is this ISO 14000 standards? So ISO 14000 is a family of standards on environmental management. It provides a framework for organizations to manage better the impact of their activities on the environment and to demonstrate sound environmental management. So where did ISO 14000 come from? So ISO 14000 standards was developed by representatives from over 50 countries around the world. To whom do these standards apply? ISO 14001 standards can be applied to large and small business and industries, service sectors, which includes hospitals, hotels, etc., governmental organizations. So all type of organizations of all sizes anywhere in the world can go for ISO 14000 standards. So what is this environmental management system? It's a systematic way of managing an organization's environmental aspects. So it uses a high-level structure, can be easily integrated into any existing ISO management system. It's based on the plan, do, check, act model. It is focused on continual improvement of systems. It is a tool to improve the environmental performance. What are the benefits of ISO 14001? You can achieve strategic business aims by incorporating environmental issues into business management. Provides a competitive and financial advantage through improved efficiencies and reduced costs. It encourages better environmental performance of suppliers by integrating them into the organization's business systems. So, in the last session, I had mentioned that the earlier issue of ISO 14001 was released in 2004. There was an issue before that also in 1996. So, the ISO 14001 2015 is the third issue, and 3 years were given to the organization to recertify themselves to the new standard. So what are the key improvements in this issue that was released in 2015? So using this ISO 14001 2015 as an environmental pillar to sustainability, an increased alignment with strategic direction, a greater commitment to leadership, proactive initiatives to protect the environment, adoption of life cycle thinking, more effective stakeholder focused communication strategy, emphasis on environmental performance and measurement. So these are some of the differences between ISO 14001 2004 and ISO 14001 2015. Right, you have some basic information like scope, normative references, terms and definition that remain the same in both ISO versions. So where the difference comes is ISO 14001 2004 environmental system requirements, now it has been changed to context of the organization, General requirements is replaced with leadership, environmental policy with planning, implementation operation with support, checking with operation, management review with performance evaluation, and they have one more. Uh, they have one more aspect, that is improvement, right? So, and the last column says that whether it is a new requirement or it has been enhanced, or there is a significant change due to which this term was introduced into the ISO 14001 2015. So ISO 14001 approach is based on the plan, do, check, act, right, cycle. So P is planning, doing is support and operation, checking is performance evaluation, acting is improvement. So the central point is the leadership. So leadership plays a major role here in the ISO 14001 2015. And so finally that gives the intended outcome of the environmental management system. But what goes into the system is internal external issues may be there, needs and expectations of interested parties have to be taken into account, and the scope of the environmental management system, right? So the same PDCA chart, right? But here what is being represented is, I told you there is a basic introduction, scope, normative references, and terms and definitions. They remain the same. The context of the organization, leadership, planning come under planning, support and operations come under doing, performance evaluation comes under checking, and the last one is improvement comes under acting. So a few slides back we saw the difference between ISO 14001 2004 and 2015. So you had seen that there were new terms 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So this is how they have been split up. Again, going deeper into the plan, do, check, act, you can see that each one of them have subcategories, like the context of the organization is understanding the organization and its context, understanding the needs and expectations of interested parties, determining the scope of the EMS environmental management system, right? Leadership involves leadership and commitment, environment policy, organization of roles and responsibilities and authorities. Planning involves actions to address the risks and opportunities, environmental objective and planning to adhere to them. Support deals with resources, competence, awareness, communication, documented information. Operation deals with operational planning and control, emergency preparedness and response. Checking deals with monitoring, measurement, analysis and evaluation, internal audits, management reviews. Acting is that is improvement, right? Deals with non-conformity and corrective actions, continual improvement. So planning, establishing objectives and process needed to deliver the results in line with the EMS. Doing is implementing the needed process of the EMS. Checking is checking the process against policy objectives, targets, regulations, and reports resulting. Reports results, right? Which is nothing but auditing. And acting is taking actions to continually improve the EMS. So in the audit findings, there can be three categories. One is major non-conformity. Non-conformity means not aligning with the standards. There may be minor non-conformity. There may be some observations. So what we need to take care is the major non-conformity. So a major non-conformity relates to the absence or total breakdown of a required process or a number of minor non-conformities listed against similar areas. A major non-conformity at the registration audit, right, stage 2 would defer recommendation for registration until that major has been closed, right? So if there is a non-conformity, major non-conformity at the registration stage, right, then it differs the recommendation for registration, meaning they don't recommend ISO 14001 for the organization until that major flaw has been rectified. So I told in the last session itself that companies are given 3 years time to recertify themselves as per the 2015 issue. They might have been with ISO 14001 2004. So transition takes place in that 3 years time period. So in 2016 what they do is the recertification audits are conducted so that they can come to the new standard. Same thing is done in 2017 and 2018, full conformance with the new standard. So what is the certification process? First is implementation of the EMS, then conducting internal audits and review, right, by the top management, then selection of a certification body. This is stage 1 audit, stage 2 audit, and then confirmation of registration. And there is continual improvement and surveillance audits, meaning checking whether they are complying with the standards every now and then. So implementation timeline. So implementation plan will need to cover education on the ISO 14001 standards, organization's environment position with regards to the ISO 40001 standards. They have to identify the gaps, implementation plan based on the gap analysis, time to run the EMS, collect information, and make improvements before the registration audit. So organization position with regards to the environment. So how they do the gap analysis. So are there gaps that need to be bridged? What are they? Where are they located? How they can be improved? Who will be taking the corrective or preventive actions? So environmental position needs to be analyzed so that the gaps can be bridged or closed. So then what they do, they assign a environmental safety team. So this team will be active in the design and development of the EMS and participate in the ongoing operation of the system. Then they assign a management team. This team will be providing the direction and guidance to the development and implementation of the EMS. So some ways to handle the audit session, right? Audit session is um, you have a person who is coming from an external organization or institution to check your process, right, in the audit, and you have to produce all the documentation to him, and he'll go through that, and he'll find out the flaws in them, and and he'll be able to uh, ensure whether the company can be given ISO 14001, whether they can go for the registration first, and then if they are registered, surely they'll get the ISO 14001 certification in with time, in due course of time. So what are some ways to handle those sessions? One is that you should not panic. You should ask whatever doubts you have and clarify them. Admit obvious non-conformities, right? You know that you are not meeting the standards, so you need to admit yourself. Offer evidence and explain patiently. Take note of improvement areas highlighted by the auditor and show internal audit report whenever necessary. So, how should you behave? You should be polite, professional, positive, receptive, sincere, committed, formal, but not overly serious. So, what are some do's? You need to answer the questions directly. If you don't understand the question, you should ask the auditor to clarify. If you don't know the answer, tell that you don't know. Get the right person in to answer the questions, right? Because there may be many people in the organization, and all of them may not be knowing everything. So, a few people may be dealing with some particular aspects. So, we need to get the right person to answer the questions. Show them the documents and records, and turn mobile phones to silent mode, right? Thank you.
Thus, we come to the end of this session. Thank you for your participation. Looking forward to meeting you in the next session.